Charlie was someone who once said, guns save lives, after a school shooting. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd in the hands of Minneapolis police.
I think he called him a scumbag.
Right, have no regard, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist. And I think, there are a lot of people who are out there talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate.
Complete rewriting of history.
Yeah, there is nothing more effed up.
Elon says in the speech, quote, "Many have called me asking, Elon, what will the U.S. do in response to this situation?" Meaning the situation in Somalia. Ilhan Omar replies and says, quote, "The U.S. government will act according to our requests." You cannot have a government to continue to operate as a superpower if it's infiltrated by foreign powers. We're told that diversity is our strength. You have to bring in all these people. The left loves this. Here is cut 47 of Ilhan Omar continuing. On radio, I'll translate for it after. On television, you'll be able to see the subtitles. Play cut 47.
madaxweyne xasan shiikhna waxaan leeyahay waan kugu faraxsannahay shaqada fiican aad qabatay in dadka Soomaaliya iyo dadka meel kasta ku nool aad dareensiisay si kasta anaga aan u dhibanahay Soomaali hadii aan nahay waxaan nahay dad karti leh dad wadankooda aqoonsan dad wadankoodii aan wiligood danger laga gelin karin.
Translation that is going viral. So we've been using the more conservative translation because we want to be very, very fair. Even the most conservative translation, she is talking about a higher loyalty than the United States, a higher priority than the United States, talking about Somalia. What is the story of Ilhan Omar? Ilhan Omar was in a Kenyan refugee camp because Somalia is not a stable country. Somalia is not a model country. Somalia is a mess. Remember Black Hawk Down? Somali pirates? Somalia is not a model for any country. Now remember, Ilhan Omar's father worked in the government of a Somali dictator. So Ilhan Omar is in a Kenyan refugee camp. And we have big hearts as Americans, don't we? We're very generous and charitable people. We are the most generous and philanthropic and open-minded individuals on the planet. And as same thing that's happening on the southern border, our generosity, our charity is used against us. We bring Ilhan Omar into our country alongside hundreds of thousands of other Somalians. Remember, invade the world, invite the world. And Ilhan Omar had some very suspicious activity with her brother and marital certificates. We're not going to get too deep into that, but it's awfully suspicious. And remember, it's the same congressman who went viral a couple years ago when describing the 9/11 attack by saying it's just some people who did something. She comes to America, gets educated in our schools, educated in our university system, ascends to Congress to then relentlessly insult our country. She talks about racism and homophobia and misogyny, every left-wing anti-American talking point of somebody we invited into our country. And instead of assimilating, instead of learning, first of all, our customs, our practices. Yes, she does speak English, but she's not speaking English in this particular speech. Instead of saying, wow, I'm a guest in America and I'm going to become a citizen, maybe I should learn something. Maybe there's a reason why Somalia is in a rather crappy position and America is a great country. Why is that? Why is Somalia a third world hellhole and America is a pretty nice country? And by the way, Somalia is objectively a mess. That's not a racist thing. That's not a bigoted thing. Somalia literally has been torn apart in soft civil war for multiple decades. Don't take my word for it. Look at any objectively analysis. Somalia is one of the most dysfunctional places on planet Earth. And yet Ilhan Omar, she wants to make America more like Somalia. She should be counting her blessings that she's here. She is a perfect embodiment of the ingratitude of now the third world, foreigner, left-wing insurgency within the United States Congress. Ilhan Omar could say, boy, I'm just blown away that I get to live in this country. Maybe I should learn something. No, instead, she comes in full speed, talking about dual loyalty. Let's be perfectly clear. Ilhan Omar never should have been allowed to serve in the U.S. Congress. She speaks like a sleeper cell. People need to learn what a sleeper cell is. She should be denaturalized, and she should be deported back to where she came from.
Well, right. I mean, we should not allow these educators who are celebrating the political assassination of Charlie Kirk and conservatives around the country. They should not be anywhere near our kids or teaching them. The same thing goes for healthcare professionals, doctors, anesthesiologists, nurses. I don't want these people making life or death healthcare decisions for myself, my family, or any of you that are watching you, Maria, this morning. And in fact, late last night, we got tipped off about an alleged employee at a South Carolina college saying that violence is the only answer and saying that I would be the next political assassination. These people need to be publicly shamed. They need to be shamed out of a civil society, out of their jobs when they are around children or making healthcare decisions. Enough is enough. This is the mentality that got Charlie Kirk assassinated. It's why Donald Trump they attempted to kill him twice last year. It's why so many conservatives are getting death threats all day, all night right now, and we're done with it.
Yeah, but I want to know who is supporting this and funding this. I mean, you've got to follow the money. President Trump now wants to see racketeering charges against leftist groups who are agitators.
There were pallets of bricks that were sent to small towns all across the country to destroy these cities and these towns. So somebody is paying for this. And we know it's coming out of the Democrat, the left-wing party in the United States. We know that they are participating in this, but somebody is funding it. And I agree with Trump to start with Soros. And I am filing a privileged motion this morning to censure Ilhan Omar for alleging that Charlie Kirk is a terrorist in her content, and all but blaming him for his assassination, but also strip her of her committee assignments. I believe in the First Amendment. You have the right to say whatever you want, but that has consequences, and she should be admonished, and she should be reprimanded here in Congress. This is the sort of thing that is putting conservatives' lives in danger. I carry my 6-hour P365 now everywhere I go because of the danger and the threats that we're currently facing.
Yeah, I mean,
in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a whole group of Democrats who use the word fascist repeatedly during their campaigning, their political campaigning. And, you know, the suspect had the word fascist etched on his ammunition. So what does that tell you?
Well, you mean, look at Kamala Harris when she was running for president last year. She said live on air multiple times over that Donald Trump was a fascist. And this ideology, they've called us Nazis, they've called us Hitler, they've called us fascists, they've called us terrorists. This is why our lives are in danger. And how do you have unity with a group of people who want to murder you? And, you know, I talked to my pastor on Sunday. I'm struggling with this because these people need to be held accountable. They need to be fired from their jobs. They need to go to jail if they've committed a crime. And they need to be dealt with boldly, strongly. And I support everything Trump is saying and wanting to do. That's why I'm filing this censorship and this motion to strip Ilhan Omar of her committee assignments. That's why I'm working to root out the teachers and healthcare workers in South Carolina who celebrate murder. I don't want them around our kids. Hard pass.
I've never seen the kind of hate that was so apparent during the last election season. I've never seen the kind of hate that was exhibited against Donald Trump and his supporters than what we've seen in the last 10 years.
This is somebody who came to the United States, immigrated to the United States. Her family left a Muslim country, Somalia, because of the horrendous conditions that are going on. And she comes here and hates America. She doesn't come here and appreciate what this country is about. And he said, she's not here and her family's not here to embrace freedom and to embrace Americanism. They're here to spread what he said, the evangelical-like gospel of militant Islam. That's why she's here. She represents, in effect, Hamas and these other organizations, just like CARE in this country was born of Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, and they're here within our country. Our immigration system is a disaster. In this country, we used to have an immigration system that if you hate America, you don't get into America. In fact, you need to demonstrate allegiance to America. So this is all turned upside down. So only in her mind could the United States and Israel be akin to the Taliban in Afghanistan, Hamas, and I dare say, what do those terrorist organizations do to women? They abuse them. They violate them. What do they do to the gays? They kill them. And yet they're aligned with them. And that's because, as Zuhdi Jasser says, and I've been talking about, you have an alliance of this Marxist left with this jihadi or radical Islamist movement. And they're all fascistic in their own and totalitarian in their own way. Important that that these colleagues of hers, the Jews, step up to the plate and criticize the United States and Israel too, you see. Not in our country. You fled from an unjust, uncivil society that slaughters people, that rapes women, and you and your family came to the United States of America. So don't give me this crap that you know how to experience injustice in America.
The media, of course, their response to this was twofold. The first was to act like they had no idea what he was talking about, which they probably don't, because anything that is harmful to a Democrat, they pretend like it doesn't exist, even though there's been reporting on this for years. And two, they painted it as solely a conspiracy theory. Now, the fact that she might have married her brother is unproven, but there is a whole lot of documentation that suggests that she committed immigration fraud by having a fraudulent marriage to someone who has neither been proven or disproven to be her brother. She, of course, has denied this, but there's this whole host of reporting from David Steinberg, who is with PJ Media, talking about the fact that she was filing joint tax returns with one man while claiming to be married to another. There's court documents that show she was living with that first man while claiming to be married to another. And he released some reporting this week that walks through this case, showing that Ilhan Omar and some of her sisters all refer to this same man as their father. And then there's all of this social media evidence showing that the man she was married to is also apparently related to these sisters and is the son of this same man. So there is some evidence out there that raises a lot of questions about whether or not she was in fact married to her brother. And I think this deserves deeper investigation to see exactly what the relation there is. There's evidence that she might have lied about how long she's known this man. He apparently went to high school in the US, even though he was from London. The whole thing is very weird, very fishy, and there's a lot to dig through. I suggest you guys do it because it's too much to really get into on this podcast. But the media downplaying this as a conspiracy theory or some far-right, QAnon crazy thing that we should just dismiss out of hand, I don't think is accurate. And in fact, the Star Tribune in Minnesota did their own report, and they were unable, in fact, to reach a conclusion as to whether or not this man Ilhan Omar was married to was her brother. The Washington Examiner has uncovered some documents as well. So there's plenty of stuff to dig through here, and we should avoid the media trying to tell us that this is not worth investigating.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe. Be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you. God bless you. And God bless America.